What happens after a miracle changes a life in one single moment? Does the dream become lighter, or heavier to carry? For Juan, the golden moment on the AGT stage was not the end. It was the beginning of a journey far more difficult than the road that brought him there. The world saw a poor Filipino boy from the streets of Manila touched by destiny. They saw confetti falling, judges standing, and a golden button glowing like hope itself. But when the lights faded and the stage went quiet, Juan was left with something new. Expectation. Juan was still the same boy who grew up with cracked pavements under his feet. The same boy who knew hunger, long nights, and silent prayers. Only now, millions of eyes followed his steps. Juan was small in age, but his heart carried heavy dreams. He carried the dreams of his mother, Maria, a woman shaped by sacrifice and patience. She was gentle, tired, and endlessly hopeful, holding faith even when life offered little in return. Beside them stood Luis, Juan's uncle and quiet guardian. He was practical, protective, and deeply cautious, shaped by years of struggle. He believed in dreams, but feared what dreams could demand in return. As Juan prepared for the next stage of AGT, something shifted inside him. The joy of being chosen slowly mixed with fear of losing it all. Every step forward felt like walking on glass. The golden buzzer had opened a door. But behind that door was pressure, doubt, and a question Juan could not escape. Was he strong enough to carry a miracle without breaking under its weight? Manila still lived inside him. The sound of crowded streets. The memory of empty pockets and hopeful mornings. Now, he stood between two worlds. One built from struggle. The other built from possibility. And somewhere between those worlds stood a boy, asking silently. Was this dream meant to save him? Or test him in ways he had never known? The miracle had begun. But the real story was only starting. Juan was born into a life that never promised comfort. He grew up in a narrow part of Manila where houses leaned on each other like tired friends. The streets knew his footsteps well. Dust, noise, and long days were part of his childhood. He was small for his age, with quiet eyes that observed more than they spoke. Juan was not loud or demanding. He learned early to wait, to adjust, and to endure. Patience became his second nature. Music was not a hobby for Juan. It was a refuge. When the world felt heavy, he sang to make sense of it. When hunger whispered at night, melodies softened the silence. Juan had a habit of singing softly to himself while doing chores. While sweeping floors. While waiting in long lines. It was never for attention. It was how he stayed calm. Despite the golden moment on the AGT stage, Juan's life had not magically changed inside his heart. He still felt small in big rooms. Still doubted whether he truly belonged there. Fame frightened him more than failure. He worried about making mistakes. About disappointing those who believed in him. About losing the simple boy he once was. Juan carried gratitude like a weight. He felt thankful for every chance, every smile, every word of encouragement. But gratitude came with pressure. He felt he now owed the world perfection. At night, Juan often lay awake, staring at the ceiling. He replayed the golden moment again and again. Not with pride, but with fear of what came next. He missed the predictability of his old life. The struggle was hard, but it was familiar. This new path was bright, but unknown. Yet, deep inside, there was something unbreakable. A quiet strength shaped by years of survival. A belief that pain could be turned into purpose. Juan stood at a fragile point. Still a child of the streets. Now a symbol of hope. And he wondered every day. Could he carry both? Without losing himself? The golden buzzer did not silence Juan's struggles. It only changed their shape. Before AGT, Juan's problems were simple and visible. Empty pockets. Tired mornings. Uncertain meals. Now his struggle lived inside him, where no one else could see. The central problem was expectation. Everyone believed Juan was already a success. But Juan felt like he was still trying to prove he deserved the miracle. He was surrounded by people, yet felt deeply alone. Training rooms replaced familiar streets. Bright lights replaced warm shadows. Smiles surrounded him, but none felt like home. Juan began to fear failure more than hunger. In Manila, mistakes were forgiven by life itself. Here, every mistake felt permanent. He missed his mother's quiet presence. Her tired smile had always been enough to calm him. Now distance stretched between them, and comfort felt far away. Loneliness followed Juan like a shadow. Even in crowded places, his heart felt empty. He had no one to share his doubts with. At night, regret whispered to him. Regret for stepping onto a stage that asked so much. Regret for leaving behind the simplicity of his old life. Juan questioned his own worth. Was he talented enough? Was he strong enough? Or was he just a lucky moment the world would soon forget? The weight of representing his family and his country pressed heavily on his chest. He was no longer just Juan. He was hope for many. Sometimes, he wished he could go back. Not to escape the dream, but to feel safe again. To feel unseen. To be free from judgment. This emotional conflict began to drain him. His voice trembled with fear, not weakness. His smile carried exhaustion, not joy. The miracle had opened doors. But it had also built walls around his heart. Juan stood at a crossroads. Move forward with courage. Or be crushed by the very dream meant to save him. And in the quiet moments, one question haunted him most. Was the golden dream worth the loneliness it demanded? The turning point did not arrive with applause or bright lights. It came quietly, in a moment one never expected. One evening, alone and exhausted, Juan sat with his thoughts heavy and restless. The noise of the journey had finally faded. There was no crowd. No pressure-filled room. Only silence. In that silence, Juan felt something break open inside him. Not fear. Not sadness. But clarity. He realized he had been carrying the dream the wrong way. He was holding it like a burden, not a gift. Like something that could be taken away at any moment. For the first time, Juan stopped thinking about judges, audiences, and expectations. He thought about the boy he used to be. The boy who sang without fear. The boy who sang simply to survive another day. That boy had never asked for perfection. He had only asked for honesty. Juan understood something life-changing. The golden buzzer was never a promise of victory. It was a reminder of why he began. He did not need to impress the world again. He only needed to stay true to the voice that carried him out of darkness. This realization softened something inside him. The tightness in his chest loosened. The fear that had followed him began to fade. Juan saw that loneliness had not come to break him. It had come to teach him self-trust. To show him that strength does not always come from applause. Sometimes, it grows in quiet moments of understanding. He also realized that the pressure he felt was not placed on him by others. It was built by his own fear of losing love. But love was never conditional on success. In that moment, Juan chose courage. Not loud courage. Quiet courage. He decided to sing again the way he always had. Not to win. Not to survive. But to express the truth of his journey. The miracle shifted shape. It was no longer about a golden button. It was about reclaiming his purpose. From that night forward, Juan walked differently. Still nervous. Still human. But no longer afraid of being himself. Juan's journey reminds us that miracles do not erase struggle. They only change where the struggle lives. The world often believes that success is a finish line. That once someone is chosen, blessed, or noticed, their pain disappears. But real life is quieter and more complex. Juan did not become brave the day the golden buzzer was pressed. He became brave the day he chose not to let fear control his voice. His story teaches a simple truth. Dreams are not meant to replace who we are. They are meant to reveal us. Juan learned that pressure can sound louder than doubt. That loneliness can appear even in the brightest moments. But he also learned that purpose grows strongest in silence. The greatest victory was not the stage. It was the moment Juan accepted himself without conditions. He did not stop being a boy from Manila. He carried Manila with him. The struggles. The lessons. The quiet strength built from hardship. Juan's miracle was not about becoming someone new. It was about trusting the person he had always been. For anyone watching who feels small, unseen, or unworthy, Juan's journey offers hope. You do not need permission to believe in your voice. You do not need perfection to deserve a chance. Life may place you on unexpected stages. It may ask more from you than you feel ready to give. But courage does not mean having no fear. It means moving forward while still afraid. Staying honest when the world demands performance. Juan's story is not just his own. It belongs to anyone who has carried a dream through uncertainty. Anyone who has felt alone while being celebrated. The golden dream continues. Not because the world is watching. But because a boy chose truth over fear. And sometimes, that choice is the greatest miracle of all.